Alright everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to me. Alright, the first thing I will introduce myself. My name is Andi Firmansyah, and this time I would like to reading and analyzing poem in the same poem. Another information is I would like to analyzing the lexical or figurative language of lexical, right? Without any further ado, the first I will reading the poem entitled Love's Philosophy by Percy, Bysshe, Shelley. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single. All things by a love defined. In one spirit meet and mingle. Why not I with time see the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another? No sister flower will be forgiven if it disdained its brother, and the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work for, if thou kiss not me? Alright, I'm just reading the poem, and after that, the next is I would like to explain the figurative language part of lexical. Alright, stanza 1. The speaker begins his explanation of the philosophy of love by describing different parts of nature. He talks about the fountains and the way they mingle with the river. He then mentions the rivers and how they meet with the ocean. This all symbolize people and imply that people are meant to mingle with one another. The speaker then says that the winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. With this description, the speaker suggests that the psychical and the emotional are connected in some way. He calls it a divine law, that all things would be in one spirit and eventually would meet and mingle. This symbolizes humanity, and the speakers believe that human beings were meant to mingle with one another both psychically and emotionally. The use of the phrase "in one spirit" implies the idea that human beings are meant to connect with one another spiritually as well. With the last line of this stanza of lost philosophy, the speaker asks his hearer, "Why not I with thine?" The speaker asks his hearer, "Why not I with thine?" This question reveals that the speaker's desire for love is not yet satisfied. The question implies his belief that it will only be natural for he and his lover for unit, body, soul, and mind. He believes that it will be every bit as natural as the river mingling with the sea, for he and the one he loves to be one. The tone of the question, however, implies that this love is either unrequited or he is far away from the one he loves, or he is posing the question to his would-be lover for the very first time. Alright, that's for the stanza 1. We got to stanza 2. Next to the stanza 2. The stanza 2, see the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower will be forgiven if it disdain its brother, and the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet word worth if thou kiss not me? The speaker begins again to describe the ways in which different parts of nature interact and depend upon one another. He says that the mountains kiss high heaven and that the waves clasp one another. It is clear that he longs to have a cycle relationship with the person he loves. His descriptions of the cycle interactions between parts of nature imply his belief that cycle interaction between two people is natural. He communicates to his lover that it feels unnatural to be kept away from her. The speaker then uses flowers to further describe his feelings about his unsatisfied feelings. He describes sister flower and claims that it will not be forgiven if it were to deny its brother. This description causes the readers to lean toward the idea of the poem is about unrequited love. The word disdain seems to imply that the one to whom the speakers to whom he speaks, to whom he speaks remains separate from him by her own choice. This um, the speaker. This seems unnatural because belongs for her love so strongly. Sorry, this is said that to the speaker, this seems unnatural. Oh, not. It is said that. Alright, there is a little unclear of this. The word disdain seems to imply that the one to whom he speaks remains separate from him by her own choice to the speaker. This seems unnatural because belongs for her love so strongly. He continues to describe the cycle relationships between parts of nature. When he claims that the sunlight clasps the air, this imagery allows the reader to understand the depth of the speaker's feelings. He feels a staff to clasp the one he loves in his arms would be as natural as it is for the rays of the sun to grasp the earth. He describes the way the moonbeams kiss the sea, further expressing his cycle desire for the one to whom he speaks. The continuous personification of nature and the words used to describe the relationships therein give insight into the intensity of the speaker's feelings. Words such as mingle, clasp, and kiss all reveal the cycle nature of the speaker's desire. However, phrases such as sweet emotion and in one spirit imply that his desires are deeper than the cycle. He longs to be united with the one he loves spiritually and emotionally as well psychically. The speaker ends Love's philosophy with a question similar to the one he asked at the end of the first stanza. He asked, "What is all this sweet work worth if thou kiss not me?" This is a heavy question. He reveals his feelings that nothing he has observed in life or nature holds any value to him if he is not to be united with the person he loves. This final line intensifies the tone of the rest of the poem because it implies not only the speaker's intense desire for the one he loves but also his lack of the interest in living life apart from her. This allows the reader to understand the depths of his love it is interesting, however, that the speaker has already implied that the one he loves feels disdain for him. Thus, it is ironic that he can claim that love between the two of them would be as natural as the meeting of the river and the ocean, when it is clear that the one he loves does not share his feelings. To her, it might feel very unnatural to be united with him, whether psychically, spiritually, or emotionally. The speaker does not seem to offer much insight into the feelings or thoughts of the one he loves, other than a subtle implication that she feels disdain for him. Thus, the reader can gather that although he feels strongly for her, he does not understand her feelings nor take them into consideration when he claims that it is unnatural for them to be apart, be natural for them to be together. This gives the readers that idea that although his love is intense, it is quite possibly immature. He might feel a deep longing for his woman, but he has not been able to identify with her feelings and honor her feelings. If he had, he may have been able to let go of her despite her feelings toward him. All of these factors can lead the reader to believe that love's philosophy is written about the classic feelings of requited love. Alright, that's the lexical of the poem that I read before, and there are two similar poetry about this love philosophy. There are countless creative love poems that have been written throughout the ages, many of which use clever conceits such as seen in this piece. Some of the best belong to John Donne. These include The Flea and A Valediction, Forbidding Morning. Some other poems that are slightly different but still relatable to philosophy are Love's Language by Ella Wheeler Wilcox and The Last There's Love by Evan Boland. Yeah, that's maybe will interest you reading. I suggest you all to find and reading the poetry or similar poetry. Alright, there's Dams Part 2. Shelley makes the dams of love's philosophy quite clear. They include love, sex, and the interconnectivity of nature. The latter is used as an excuse for the speaker to plea with the listener for the first two. He is seeking out love and the sex he believes should come with it, and sees evidence for the rightness of his desire in the world around him. Shelley uses the movement of the wind, the waves, and all other living things to try to convince the listener that they should have sex with him. And after I read the analysis one, I want to tell the structure and form two. Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley is a two-stanza poem that follows a simple rhyme scheme of A B C D. This pattern remains consistent, made up only perfect or full rhymes. The matters slightly more complicated. Most of the lines are written in Thocaic tetrameter, but it does not maintain its structure throughout the entire poem as an extra unstressed syllable at the beginning. This can be consistent against the following line, which is in perfect Thocaic tetrameter. Literary devices. Shelley makes use of several literary devices in Love's Philosophy. Those include, but are not limited to, examples of a conceit, alliteration, and enjambment. The first concept was popularized by the poet John Donne in works like The Flea. It describes an original and striking metaphor that, in this case, as if the flea is seeking to convince the listener of something. Shelley compares sex to the way that all natural elements interact with one another in an attempt to seduce the listener of the poem. Alright, and the last is summary. Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley contains a speaker's plea to his lover that she allow him to love secretly. In the first lines of this poem, the speaker describes the movement of water from fountain into rivers and the rivers into oceans. He also speaks about the winds in heaven and low and how they move and mix like the water, but with even more beautiful emotion, poignancy. Shelley emphasizes the importance of understanding interconnectivity and the fact that the world is connected bit by bit through spirit. He uses this as an argument to address you, the person he loves. He believes that since they are already connected that they should come together as lovers. The poem concludes with the speaker describing the mountains, heaven, and the embrace of the waves. He thinks it would be a shame if she did not escape his cycle love. Without her, all the beautiful connections in the world seems worthless. Lost Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Before beginning Lost Philosophy, is important to discuss the title. The term philosophy carries with it some heavy implications. The title implies that the speaker understands a set of logical laws by which love itself must abide. This suggests that love works in a certain and specific way. Tough it might be at times difficult to understand. There might be different views about love. This author suggests that love can be understood through logic, just as life can be understood through logic and the use of self-philosophy. Alright everyone, I think that's all what I want to say to you all, what I want to tell you all from I reading the poem, analyzing it, and then I'm spelling the summary and many again. I guess all of you guys, I suggest you to see the other reciting poem or analysis poem entitled Lost Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. This poem that I read before, and yeah, what an interesting poem. So yeah, I want to tell you a little thing from this video. Talk about the poem. I'm prepared to explaining the lexical one or part of figurative language. Lexical, I think that's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.